clearing out tents, toilets, and catering for events. Now you can't do it because funerals, which were prevalent in doing that in rural areas, now can only take one tent, 2 pole or 1 pole. And also, big events that were actually held throughout these provinces by departments are no longer taking. So there's no more catering that will take there. It then means we must engage, because I know out of that 500, some of them in doing that in rural areas, they were not able, now can only take one, all of them to get a piece out of the 500 million. Big events that so were actually held, and all those were not supported by departments, are no longer in terms of the requirement. We must say no more catering that they had applied in time. Then means we must engage, because I know out of that 500 million, they were not able, now it comes from all of them to get all their savings. They were not able, there were so many now, and all those were not able, and also rectified, there were so many, and all those were not catering, they had applied by then we must engage, because I know out of that 500 there are many people who are not South Africans who are engaged in this particular program because they have money. They rent from our own people in townships. They use their garages and then they make money. Our people continue to receive grant from Lindy Wezulu, the Minister of Social Development. They continue to get now 350. We better ensure that we push them a little from behind to say, get on as a first step and have your own spaza shop. We will support you. I won't be able to detail how much support, but we can see it beginning to flourish. However, I'm very worried as a deputy minister, let me say so, and not the department, that now spaza, that now big businesses like your ShopRite, your Rhinos, they all go to rural areas now. They invade that space in order to continue while they are already in their small towns and they have chased them away. They now go to where we're supposed to be going. We won't be taking this line down. We will be engaging everyone, including commission competition. I'm not worried about those who will say we are a protectional government. We protect small business. We're not, but we're defending their right to actually be in where they're supposed to. I am pretty sure, and I plead in any way, that this House must be able to support this particular budget, despite the fact that we know it's too small, because still, if another crisis comes, we will also contribute like all departments. The minister has just launched, and I would want to be very clear on this one. This program of shop support program has already engaged with big wholesalers that they must treat spaza shop owners like their own partners for all of us to grow. The clothing and textile support program, the bakeries and confectionaries to support as a support to that program. But we want to plead with the Department of Agriculture, Department of Education, that we can't watch rural communities where there's a school in every village. Rural women there, young people there are not participating in the school nutrition budget, and there is budget for that. So allow them to feed their sisters, to feed their siblings, and also to participate. If a school can get 90,000, it means if it's circulating in a rural village, it will do a great deal to actually help women in that. But the non-payment has nothing to do with the COVID. non-payment of our small businesses by departments and by all of us, whether it's local municipalities. We are attending to this so-called red tape that is actually killing our own small businesses. We have made inroads with SALCA because it also happens in their operational space, which is the local municipalities. We have engaged as well with the provinces. Some provinces, up to 4, have already signed an agreement that we will be looking into late payments. And also, we need actually to bring to this house that act which is going to protect small business from being exploited to an extent that they cannot move. But manditsho ke ukuba eneneni siyabacela bonke abantu sike sithi singakuthengi konke ukutya, sikwazi nokufaka phaya kwezalali i-wholesale zabantu baphaya, the so-called community enterprises, so that you've got a warehouse. But the requirement for you to own, you will have to partner with that community where there's an ocean of poverty. You will buy from them. That's why we must be able to go out, support production by cooperatives so that they can sell to the school nutrition. They can sell to the COVID processes, your mask, your gowns for protective clothing, etc., the so-called EPPs. And also the localization issue of when tendering is taking place. The minister is actively engaging Treasury to ensure that while you want to support big businesses so that they don't lay our people out as employees, you must also avoid this new opportunity going behind those who have been in the textile industry. They didn't benefit much, but that matter is very much engaged. I would appeal to them to say, give us a breathing space. We're keeping our head above water in trying to sort out this tender system in relation to actually localization. You cannot have someone from elsewhere going into that community to clean the school when there are many young people who are energetic but don't have what it takes to get the disinfectant itself. So, honorable members, I am bowing in front of you. I'm on my knees to say, please, all political parties must sign, must agree that we be given this vehicle, this tool, so that we service our people equally.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy Minister. Mama Kapa, thank you very much.
Yabong.
We now recognize the Honorable Siwela from the ANC.
Thank you, Chairperson. Honorable Chairperson, Honorable Minister in absentia, Honorable Deputy Minister, Honorable members, good afternoon. The revised budget vote debate takes place 3 days after the people of South Africa and the world marked the 102nd birthday of President Nelson Mandela, a day which has been celebrated by the world over as an International Mandela Day. For us in South Africa, we have declared the month of July as Mandela Month. It is in this month that we should remind ourselves of the value system that Madiba stood for, the value system of Ubuntu. Madiba dedicated 67 years of his life to serve the people. We have an obligation to emulate the values he stood for by doing small things in a big way to change the lives of our people, especially the most vulnerable and the destitute. Honorable Chair, in our support of this revised budget vote of the Department of Small Business Development, we dedicate it to the living memory of Madiba. It is befitting to recall what Madiba said during the Second National Conference on Small Business in Durban in 1997. Madiba said in order to develop SMEs sector in South Africa, we need to take into account inherited obstacles. These include low levels of education and training, barriers to markets, inaccessible finance, and lack of support institution. He went further to acknowledge that the foundation for developing small business sector in South Africa have been laid. It will seem that the challenges which Madiba spoke of are still with us today. This reality is that the SME sector grow faster as it should, and hence the need to continuously address their challenges. A lot has been done to address the challenges faced by the SMEs, yet more still need to be done. Honorable Chair, the Portfolio Committee on Small Business Development has engaged with the department and its entities on the revised budget, and we firmly support the budget vote. The revised budget vote we stand here in support of has been imposed on us by circumstances not of our own making. Our country and the world and the rest of the world are experiencing an unprecedented historical event. The world is on lockdown and the focus is on saving the lives of our people. Inevitable, the lockdown by our government in response to the COVID-19 pandemic will severely affect businesses, especially small businesses. The budget vote we stand here in support has been presented under difficult circumstances. The entire government is facing physical constraint, and yet the expectations are very high. There is no new money, but SMEs need support. What then do? We need to work smarter and mobilize all the resources in our land, including support from private financial institutions to support SMEs. The general focus by all economic analysts and communicators show that our economy will contract by now less than 6%. This is obviously worrying. It means that we are heading for low revenue collection, which will impact negatively on our expenditure. To add to that, the unemployment rate, as released by State South Africa, shows an increase of 1 percentage point. More people are outside work. The reality is that the unemployment rate may rise given the reality of COVID-19 and the subsequent lockdown. The Department of Small Business has developed various relief measures to provide support to SMEs as a result of the lockdown. We welcome these measures, and we are the first to acknowledge that the physical constraints we spoke of earlier hampered the development's drive to provide support to as many SMEs as would have been the case. We support this revised budget vote. The department has prioritized the implementation of the Township Entrepreneurs Fund. This fund will assist entrepreneurs in the township to develop their businesses and thus creating employment and growing the economy. In terms of legislation, we welcome the prioritization of the finalization of the National Small Enterprise Act to, among other things, deal with the establishment of the SME Ombuds Office. The Ombuds Office will ensure that challenges which are encountered by the small business are given attention and therefore resolved. One of the economic stimulus measures identified by the government include the issue of localization. Localization will stimulate domestic productivity, and through the multiplier effect, lead to economic growth. We welcome the move by the department to prioritize localization, especially by small business. The business viability facility will ensure the promotion of sustainable and growth of the SMEs and cooperatives by facilitating success to domestic and international markets for SMEs and cooperatives. Honorable Chair, the COVID-19 and the lockdown has brought to the fore the issue of e-commerce. Most business which are linked to e-commerce are benefiting during this lockdown. And that is what we want for SMEs and cooperatives. SMEs and cooperatives should be linked to e-commerce platforms to trade. The move by the department to link SMEs and cooperatives to e-commerce platform is highly welcome. We urge the department to take advantage of the drastic move in the use of technology for business registration as a result of COVID-19, to develop measures which are geared towards improving the ease of doing business, especially in the state. The department must add to the drive by government to ensure an investor-friendly business environment and as much improve our international standing on the ease of doing business. We support this budget vote of the Department of Small Business Development, quite consciously of the reality before our eyes. We are operating in a very difficult economic environment, but we mean hopefully that working together in a social compact, we can weather the storm. Small business and cooperatives are needed now more than ever before to grow the economy and create jobs. We urge SMEs and cooperatives to take advantage of the relief measures provided by government to grow their business. We also call on the private financial institution to come on board and provide the necessary assistance to SMEs and cooperatives. We are aware about the reduction of 67 million, but we have confidence into our minister and her team. Our condolences to the minister on her loss, and we are also saying, Siaparangwe Istarambe, Tata Endrom Langeni, may his spirit rest in peace. As the ANC, we support the revised budget vote 36 of the Department of Small Business and Development. Ngiyabonga na cancer. Inkomo, Chairperson. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Squela. Honorable Mpela from the GA is the next speaker. Honorable Mpela.
You want to say anything that one? And good afternoon to all members present. Chairperson, when SMMEs first closed up shop in compliance with the start of the lockdown, most small business owners and employees would have told themselves, it's just 3 weeks, we'll bite the bullets, make the short-term sacrifice, and hold out for the 21 days. This, we were told, was to give the government time to boost healthcare capacity and resources in preparation for the pandemic. But then 3 weeks became 5 weeks, and those 5 weeks of hard lockdown were followed by week after week of confusing and contradictory regulations. Now, SMMEs were already having it tough in South Africa for many years, suffocating in a stagnant economy and strangled by red tape. But for many small businesses, the extended hard lockdown was to be the sledgehammer that delivered the final death blow. What had started out as 3 weeks of lockdown fussbait tragically became 3 big disappointments for many SMMEs. The initial hopes of small business owners that they could turn to government to help them weather the storm were quickly dashed when the SMME Debt Relief Fund established by the department was depleted in its funding commitments shortly after opening for applications. Thousands of SMMEs and sole proprietors found themselves left in the lurch due to woefully inadequate resource provision for that facility. This was the first big disappointment. It still remains patently unfair that enterprises and employees who have been contributing to government coffers through their taxes over the years were now unable to receive assistance from the government at a time of their greatest need for a lifeline. But even for those who were lucky enough to be approved for a loan, there appear to be some problems with delayed payments, as is the case for a small business that was referred to me just this week, which reported having received only the first installment of their loan when they should be almost due to receive their third one. Such delays, Chairperson, merely compound the anxiety and uncertainty faced by small businesses during this time and paints a second picture of disappointments at the hands of the department. In a reply last month to my parliamentary question inquiring what inputs the department had made towards the compilation of the lockdown regulations to ensure that the interests of SMMEs and sole proprietors were taken into account, It was said that the department is represented in various government structures established to deal with COVID-19 matters, and that the inputs contributed by DSBD were supposedly taken into consideration and processed through these structures. Well, were evidently not effective enough because there was no provision in the lockdown regulations during level 4 and 5 for a permit for sole proprietors who were providing essential and permitted goods or services, which left many self-employed people with no clarity on how they could operate with compliance to sustain their livelihoods. Where was the department to advocate for this often overlooked group? This neglect of the specific and unique needs and circumstances of small businesses and self-employed individuals is also reflected in National Treasury not having consulted the Department of Small Business Development in the planning and design of the loan guarantee scheme, resulting in many small businesses being unable to draw benefits from it. Thus, the marginalization of SMMEs and sole proprietors became the third disappointment of governments falling short of demonstrating its commitment to the success of small business. This department, quite simply, needs to be a better and proactive champion and defender of small business interests, needs, and concerns, especially within government, and no efforts should be spared in fighting to create the most enabling environments for private enterprise and job creation. I thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Mbele.
You said nothing.
Well done, Zach. Well done.
The next speaker is from the EFF, Honorable B. Matulelwa. Am I pronouncing correctly, Honorable Member? Matulelwa. Honorable Member? Matulelwa.
No data, no data. Data is finished.
Honorable Matulelwa.
Honorable Chair,
Yebo.
can you give me a chance to check with her? Maybe she has a problem with network, then you can go to another speaker.
Okay. Thank you, Honorable Member.
Must unmute herself.
Honorable Professor Siti Simang from the IFP. To recognize Honorable Simang.
Unmute the mic. Unmute the mic.
Honorable Simang. Honorable Simang is muted. He hasn't unmuted his mic.
Chairperson, it's Honorable van der Merwe again. Okay, I think he's unmuted.
Okay.
I am ready. Can you hear me, Honorable Chair?
I can hear you now, Honorable Musimang. You can
you.
go ahead.
Thank you. Honorable one of the greatest tragedies of the COVID-19 pandemic is undeniably the impact it has had on our small, medium, and micro enterprises. The enterprises form the lifeline of our economy and are vital for job creation. Over 95% of enterprises globally are SMMEs, and they employ between 60% and 70% of the working population. This sector remains one of the greatest opportunities to address the alarming high unemployment rate in our country. Before turning to the supplementary budget of the Department of Small Business Development, the IFP wishes to stress its utmost sympathy with these enterprises' struggle during these unprecedented times. On the announcement of the lockdown, the IFP welcomed President Ramaphosa's announcement of socio-economic relief packages, including COVID-19 loan guarantee scheme provided to small businesses. However, the IFP was concerned that the strict financial requirements for qualification for these loans provide a great obstacle in accessing financial relief. Although the IFP in general supports the department's supplementary budget, the IFP remains highly concerned about the impact of the downward revision on critical programs of the department. In specific, the IFP is concerned about the impact of the reprioritization of funds for the Township Entrepreneurship Fund, which originally had 800 million rand allocated to it for the current financial year. According to the department's briefing, these funds have now been reprioritized for COVID-19. And the Township Entrepreneurship Fund has been suspended. It is critical that in the fight against global COVID-19 pandemic, we do not forget the need to uplift and support these township enterprises. Honorable members, in these desperate times, we need to ensure accountability and transparency are effectively enforced. The IFP, therefore, strongly urges the department to be transparent in ensuring oversight of the administration of COVID-19 relief funds. As a country, we cannot afford any waste of resources. It is critical that the funds so desperately needed are properly managed and reach those that are most in need of help. I thank you, Honorable Chair. The IFP supports the budget.
Thank you, Honorable Mseman. Honorable Babala, can we go back to you again?
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Manpale Ndibulise, to our Commander-in-Chief, Julius Solomalema, the entire leadership, ground forces, and the masses across the continent. The Economic Freedom Fighters rejects the adjusted budget vote of the Department of Small Businesses Development, the same way we did to another budgets. We reject all budgets adjustments, not because we don't want our people to get assistance from the government or small businesses to receive COVID-19 relief. The adjustments made to the budget are based on the idea of budget cuts. Our people are told that we are debating a budget so that there is a money to assist communities. To agree with the adjustment means we agree with the budget cuts for education, budget cuts for small businesses, budget cuts for agriculture and cooperatives. If we agree with this budget, we are agreeing with the austerities. That is the first thing. The second reason why we reject the adjusted budget is that the ruling party was failed ideologically to develop an industrial policy that fully understands the township and the rural economy. The reality is that majority of township and rural small businesses that are most affected could not get for COVID-19 relief because the government has never fully developed a plan that takes into consideration the role of rural and township economy. It is the fact that we do not have small businesses in South Africa. We just have white-owned businesses that remain small even after apartheid. Upstream and downstream activities of major businesses, finance, mining, manufacturing, agriculture, and hospitality. Our people remain excluded in townships and rural areas without access to machinery, safe space, and without access to loans and funding. We do not even know how many people live and do businesses in townships and rural areas. How are we going to For many of our people, small businesses, especially in informal sector, do not have savings. It is a business of selling and feeding their families on a daily basis. The government imposes lockdown level 5 without a proper system in place to assist our people in small businesses in a meaningful way for them to continue for feeding their families. Since the beginning of lockdown, our people have come to us with proof that you rejected their application without even contacting them. Further details or giving them explanation of why you rejected them. A Polarville butchery and Todu bakers in Matatiel Ward 8 in Todu village were closed and retrenched people. Their application for relief was rejected. I also found some welding informal business who didn't know how to apply for COVID-19 relief or where to go. Amatolo farming, a small operation in Matatiel Ward 24, Makatseng village that produces lemon throughout the year, is now closed because their application was rejected. Planted 10 hectares of pumpkins and it went to waste because there was no market for COVID-19. Zozoti and Stukwana cooperatives based in Umzimvubu, Ward 9, Koso village, who do rotational crop are also closed because their applications were rejected without any reason. There are many other small businesses that have suffered the same fate. To build small businesses, we first need an industrial policy that prioritizes manufacturing and beneficiation of our own mineral resources with a clear understanding of both rural and township economy. We need funding for small businesses that do not require collateral because our people were denied the opportunity to own assets. We need to expropriate land without compensation for small businesses to build their shops, markets, warehouse, factories, and storage facilities. We need to amend the PMFMA and MFMA for the state to procure the majority of consumable from local business, and in particular, small businesses that are owned and controlled by women and youth, not middlemen, by legit business. The economic freedom fighters reject the austerity budget.
Thank you very much, Honorable.
Wasted our time.
Well done. You.
Wasted our time. Yeah.
Wasted your time, one.
From the
Wasted your time,
Waited at the time of the house
order, honorable member.
Tell us.
You wasted your time. Where is your time? Oh,
It is just wasted the time of the house.
Honorable member.
Can't read.
Honorable members.
We're dealing with this corruption of the ANC.
Honorable members, please respect our time. Honorable members, please respect our time.
She wasted the
Alvaro
time.
Fernand vessels from the Free Front Plus.
Thank you, House Chair. Agbare voorsitter, klein saakondernemings is die ruggraat van Suid-Afrika se ekonomie. Maar tog wurg die ANC-regering hierdie ondernemings dood en maak beperkende wetgewing, skep beleidsonsekerheid en deur onbevoegdheid raak dit al hoe moeiliker vir entrepreneurs om ondernemings te begin en om hulle uit te brei. Honorable Deputy Minister, your department did not play its role, as you stated in the beginning. Your department's expenditure estimates and programs are not even aligned to the policy and planning documents of your department. That shows the failure. Honorable Chairperson, government cannot sustainably create jobs, nor can government sustain the mammoth number of South Africans who are dependent on social grants and assistance. This number is ever increasing as the unemployment crisis gets worse, and especially during the current dire economic circumstances. That is why every small business is of utmost importance. Each business contributes to job creation, tax revenue, and economic growth. Every business that fails, every small shop that closes its doors, every sole proprietor that stops trading translates to job losses and economic decline. South Africa is currently ranked 84 in the Ease of Doing Business Index and continues to slide. Structural reforms are needed to address the ease of doing business. Without such reform, the COVID-19 emergency funding is inept. To ensure that South Africa's economy recovers post-COVID-19, it is now the time for this department to work on such reforms and to lead an interdepartmental program to achieve such. It might be easier now to register a small business with the CIPC, but all the other statutory license and registrations are tedious and in many instances even impossible. I'm referring to things like UIF, SARS, VAT, Compensation Commission, municipal licenses, and the incompetence of many officials involved in those institutions contribute to businesses not being able to trade due to these delays. The COVID-19 emergency fund is also inadequate. Whilst government prolonged the lockdown with many irrational and incomprehensible restrictions, the fund is inadequate. The other problem with the fund is the fact that it discriminates. Whilst the virus does not, whilst hunger does not. Many businesses have closed due to government's irrational lockdown regulations and restrictions. When you lock down the economy, you should provide assistance and relief to those affected. Otherwise, saving lives are meaningless due to the loss of livelihoods. The fact that business owners of a certain race are excluded from relief funding is short-sighted. Those who suffer as a result of this exclusion is South Africans of all races who lost their jobs and livelihoods because you, Deputy Minister, refused to assist the business owners because of the color of his or her skin. It is a shame. Dit is 'n skande dat daar op grond van ras gediskrimineer.
You are ashamed yourself.
You are.
Where, ja, sis, where?
There's no more war here. Het niks gesê. Die man het niks gesê. There's no more war.
Kom ons sê luister, dan sal mens hoor. Jy luister, hy het baie mooi gepraat.
Your interruptions are becoming a problem. Please, I'm getting shy pants.
We need to learn.
We don't have a person from the UDM. Then the next speaker will be from the ATM, Honorable V. Zungula. And then I would hand over to the Honorable Mahlaule to chair. Thank you. Honorable member. Unmute Honorable Zungula.
Thank you, Chairperson.
Yeah, Baba.
The informal economy must be a catalyst for our country's industrialization dream. The informal economy is a key distribution system for goods and services in our country. Currently, the products on the shelves of these distributors are mostly imported or fake goods. Only South Africans must trade in the township, rural, and inner city economy. This will enable the industrialization when locals own the distribution centers that take the goods to the final consumers. When the informal economy is patriotically South African, we can have trade levies for traders in the informal economy. These trade levies can do two things. One, employ inspectors who will check if health regulations are complied with and people unsold fake or expired goods. This will protect the health of our people as well as create jobs. Secondly, a fund can be created to finance the industrialization program to ensure all products in the informal economy are produced locally. Having locally produced products in all shelves of traders in our informal economy will create jobs and stimulate the economy. Traders will be required to stock the locally produced products. Instead of stocking always ultra pads, traders must stock Ntombam pads, stock Mofire instead of the Red Bull, Tsepo jeans instead of Levi's, Batu sneakers instead of Nike. This drive would ensure factories at Jowa, Ekwakwa, Edimbaza, and many more small towns would reopen and jobs can be created for our people. The 400 billion rand informal economy can do wonders in arresting poverty, reducing unemployment, and stimulating the economy, but it needs to be in the hands of the citizens. Securing certain sectors of the economy for locals is a worldwide phenomenon, and countries that are doing this are always thriving. Botswana recently enacted laws to this effect, and in Ethiopia, as a South African, you can't even own a bank or insurance companies. All what we're saying as the ATM is that South Africa must catch up. Whilst we are busy fearing to be called xenophobic when we put our own citizens first, other countries are unapologetic about prioritizing their own citizens. The department must move to have patriotic business policies that will benefit our people. It is nonsensical that South Africans need to partner with citizens from Turkey or Saudi Arabia when they open businesses in those countries. But citizens of those countries do not need to partner with South African citizens when they open businesses in our country. The priority now must be mass economic participation of citizens in the economy. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member. Our next speaker will be Honorable Apron.
Thank you very much, Chairperson of the session. A good day to the Deputy Minister. Our condolences to the Minister who is suffering loss. I would like to start by saying the Chair of the Portfolio Committee on Small Business Development in her input made reference to the issue of challenges of education and training institutions which will support SMMEs, as well as a reference to the challenge of access to finance. Our contribution in this debate on behalf of the ANC in support of the revised budget vote 36 of the Department of Small Business Development will be focusing on the institutions which are established to provide both financial and non-financial support. These institutions are SIDA and SIFA. Perhaps let's start with the observation made by the Portfolio Committee on Small Business Development as reflected in its report on the revised budget vote. The report observes that the department and its entities do not have enough resources to support millions of small enterprises. It is through strategic partnerships that a serious impact on expanding funding opportunities can be accomplished. While this observation may be a bit discomforting, there are two important points which the observation communicates to all of us. Number one is that we are facing a reality of fiscal constraints, and that therefore means whatever the department and its entities do will be dependent on the availability of resources. You cannot spend 20 Rand if you only have 10 Rand, so you can only spend what you have. The second point is that we can only accomplish these goals we set ourselves through strategic partnerships. These partnerships mean the coming together of both public and private sector, especially the banks and financial institutions and private companies, to provide the necessary support for the development of SMMEs in the country. The year 2020 is a very difficult year for all of us, more so to the SMMEs. It is even worse for SMMEs in townships and in the rural areas. At the core of the program of both SEDA and SEPA is economic transformation and job creation. The quest for economic transformation must be understood in its historical context, hence the leaning towards support for townships and rural development, as well as prioritizing women, youth, and persons with disabilities. I can tell you that the DA does not understand this, because they don't understand that the disparity between the haves and the have-nots are staggeringly high, and the focus of the department should then therefore be on these. I also don't recognize or even know who the imposter is who spoke on behalf of the EFF, since we have never seen this person in any portfolio committee meeting of our portfolio. Therefore, I want to put it to ourselves that it is inappropriate.
Order, Chair.
The support for this budget vote is encouraged by the measures developed.
Chairperson, I'm rising on a point of order. Any member of parliament can debate on any debate. It does not mean that if you don't serve in that committee, you must not debate. So this member is out of order. And Commissioner Babalwa, she's part and parcel of this committee.
Imposter. A point of order is sustained, Honorable Mukalipi. Can you proceed, Comrade April?
Order, Chairperson.
Thank you, Chairperson.
No comment.
Chairperson, can the member of the ANC on the floor withdraw the remarks that this is an imposter? We don't have imposters in the EFF. We have members of parliament.
Honorable Hein, can you withdraw the imposter?
I withdraw the word imposter. I don't know who the unknown
Thank you very much.
The majority of SEDA clients in the tourism and hospitality sector, the retail and manufacturing sector, these sectors are the most hardest hit by COVID-19 and the subsequent lockdown. We are encouraged by the measures initiated by SEDA to expand incubation programs throughout the country to provide support to SMMEs. In addition, we welcome the move by SEDA to prioritize ICT research and innovation. This will enable SEDA to further exploit the opportunities offered by them in the technology highway. We urge the Department of Small Business Development to speed up the amalgamation of SEDA and SEPA to ensure the seamless, efficient, and coordinated support to SMMEs. Above all, I want to also say to Honorable Wessels, hy het geen idee wat beteken die woordjie alignment nie. En dit is 'n groot skande dat hy hier kom praat van alignment wat hy nie eens weet wat beteken dit in Afrikaans nie. The ANC supports the budget of the Department of Small Business.
Honorable April, my apologies. There is a hand from Honorable Melda. Honorable Melda.
Thank you, Chairperson. I want to take a point of order. You have just ruled that the term imposter is not parliamentary and the member had to withdraw that. One of the members on the platform, the Honorable Letzi, repeated that same accusation of imposter on the platform. It was clearly heard. His name was there, and I want you to ask him to withdraw that as well. Thank you.
Honorable Mulder, I did not hear that. I will consult with the table and I'll get back to you. Thank you very much. Honorable April, can you proceed?
Soos ek juist wou kon sê dat agbare Wessels het absoluut geen idee hoe dit voel om groot te word in 'n minder bevoorregte area nie. Om in 'n besigheid, want ons is ons is nie gebevoorreg soos hulle bevoorreg was deur met 'n goue lepel in die mond en groot te word. Daarom wil ons sê die ANC support budget vote 36 of the Department of Small Business Development. Baie dankie.
Dan kom kyk hoe ons groot geword het. Goed geslaan, ja, goed geslaan.
Thank you very much, honorable members. Our next speaker will be Honorable Hendricks.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair, Al-Jamaa welcomes this budget as it is set to trigger hope, especially for people with disabilities, that 7% of the opportunities created will be for them. Minister, the Minister of the Department of Labour has 10 factories for workers with disabilities, producing body bags, face masks, linen for hospitals. They all match SABS standards. I work with these factories as a union organizer and could not understand why government departments don't procure from them. Deputy Minister, you must wave the flag at cabinet meetings so that we can create 2,000 jobs at these factories, which it has facilities for, wide passages for wheelchairs and raised workshops. You have so many programs, but this must be priority number one. The President promised the nation that 1,000 items will only be procured from small and micro businesses. There appears to be no name in the box who is driving this. You can't expect the President to do everything. Tell us, Deputy Minister, what the 70 items are that can be procured from small business outfits run by people with disabilities. Parliament must procure 70% of its spend on small businesses run by women with disabilities, black, colored, or white. Al-Jamaa wants to see guide dogs in the Parliament precinct helping blind people plow their trade. Incubators to create small businesses and jobs must be in walking distance. And for starters, Honourable Deputy Minister, you must invite parliamentary constituency officers to have a section in their office for an incubator, which your department can assist. Al-Jamaa is willing to provide infrastructure for incubator with women with disabilities under 29 years. Give people with disabilities hope, Deputy Minister, so that the undertakings of the President is not all thunder, but no lightning. I'm a member of your portfolio committee, and we have a chairperson and a team that is very eager to speed up small businesses and create jobs. There is no reason, Honourable Deputy Minister, why small business cannot identify new revenue streams and next generation jobs. So a special incubator to achieve this is much needed. You yourself, Deputy Minister, have shown your support for incubators. Thank you very much, Honourable Chair.
Thank you very much, Honourable Member. Honourable Members, let me deal with this issue before we go far. I will ask Honourable Letier if he has indeed said the word imposter. Honourable Letier, did you say?
Thank you very much, Chair. I was asking what is an imposter. Maybe the what is was not audible, so I was just asking what is an imposter.
For the sake of progress, Honourable Letier, can you withdraw the word imposter? For the sake of progress.
I withdraw.
Thank you very much.
Yes, I withdraw, Chair.
Honourable members, we will now move to the next speaker, which is Honourable Sheikh Imam. Honourable Sheikh Imam. Honourable Sheikh Imam. Honourable members, it seems Honourable Sheikh Imam is not on the platform. We will then move to the next speaker, which is Honourable Kruger.
Thank you, Chair. COVID-19 claimed many lives and livelihoods that could have been avoided. There is no doubt in my mind that the ANC has blood on their hands. The Department of Small Business Development failed their mandate. They failed small businesses. South Africa has one of the highest failure rates of startups and entrepreneurs, due in part to the stranglehold that regulatory burdens, red tape, have on entrepreneurs and small businesses. Small businesses continue to struggle to operate in a highly inflexible and rigid regulatory environment. The department introduced even more red tape with the application process for small businesses to apply for COVID-19 relief. The incapable CIFA sent applicants from pillar to post. The Department of Labour is still struggling to pay auteurs, and small proprietors are hanging in the air because the Department of Trade and Industry don't have a plan to accommodate them in their system. COVID-19 wounded small businesses, but the ANC-led government gave them the final death blow. Thousands of small businesses are connected in one or another in a value chain with the alcohol industry. The ANC thought it was a good idea to lock the sale of alcohol in. Another final blow to small businesses. Hence, blood on the incapable state's hands. A caring state, Adjunct Minister, will make sure that those trading in alcohol-related goods are taken into consideration before the National Coronavirus Command Council take an irrational decision, which the President announced 2 Sundays ago. Even the chairperson grandstanding in the Portfolio Committee on how she support the President's announcement. Sonder om 'n flenter om te gee, 'n klap in elke klein besigheid se gesig. Small businesses in South Africa are on their knees, and the ANC-led government couldn't care less. The cabinet will rather protect the incapable ANC than assist the citizens of South Africa that are wounded by COVID-19. There is blood on the hands of the executive. Daar duisende klein sake smeek om hulp. Hulle staar met honger en wanhopige oë na die regering en soewat vir hulp. Die slegte nuus is dat daar nie hulp op die horison is nie. Want nie net is die ANC-beheerde regering nie daartoe in staat om effektief vir al sy inwoners te regeer nie, maar het ook toegelaat dat die koffers voor die pandemie deur skrikke geplunder is. Die DA is die enigste party wat 'n daadwerklike plan op die tafel het om die slagveld van COVID-19 om te skakel in 'n groeiende en 'n suksesvolle Suid-Afrika vir al sy inwoners. The government needs to show the commitment to all SMMEs so that millions unemployed South Africans can get a job to restore their dignity. Unemployment is at crisis levels, and we cannot afford a puppet president to make unprecedented announcement inconsistent with business principles. The DA will continue to fight for the survival of the small businesses. South Africa deserves a government.
Has been called Honorable Kruger. A point of order is called Honorable April.
Chairperson, it's unparliamentary for the Honorable to call the President a puppet president. He must withdraw that.
Point of debate.
Chairperson, the President is not a member of Parliament.
Honorable Kruger, did you call the President a puppet?
I call him a puppet president.
Those words are unparliamentary. I will have to ask you to withdraw the word puppet.
I withdraw the word puppet.
Thank you very much. You may proceed.
The DA will continue to fight for the survival of small businesses. South Africa deserves a government that cares for all SMMEs and empower entrepreneurs to be successful so that they can create jobs for millions of unemployed South Africans. Thank you.
Yeah, Andrew. Well done.
Andrew?
Are you the puppet?
Are you
swap?
Thank you very much.
Sock puppet.
Yes, a puppet, Andrew. Yes.
Sock puppet.
Members, we will proceed to Honorable Jacobs from the ANC. Honorable Jacobs.
Honorable Chairperson, honorable members, fellow South Africans. Our generation is witnessing a black swan, an anomaly. This pandemic is a once-in-a-lifetime phenomenon. Now is the time to unite as South Africans to save our lives and to protect our livelihoods. Ahmed Rai said, in every crisis, doubt, or confusion, take the higher path, the path of compassion, courage, understanding, and love. As the African National Congress, we take the higher path and affirm our support for the revised budget vote of the Department of Small Business and Development. There's a need to strike a balance, to find innovative ways to bridge the gap between our goals, the massive demands, the needs of many, and the reality of fiscal constraints. We appreciate all critical interventions initiated by the department and its entities, CIFA and CEDA, in providing relief, support for small businesses and cooperatives. This budget must do more with less resources. Although reduced, this budget must help establish, support, and maintain small, micro, and medium enterprises in a fair, equitable, and impactful way. The status quo is unacceptable. We all must stand for economic transformation and inclusive growth. This budget must address the economic inequalities and be deliberately biased to youth, to women, to persons with disability in townships and rural dorpies. This budget must protect, sustain, and grow our jobs. We agree, local is lekker. That's why we support the Buy South African campaign. We agree, now is not the time to blame. And while you continue to nag and remain irrelevant, Honorable Kruger, now is the time for the department to improve its capacity, to be more responsive, to expedite its processes. The department, through the district shared service model, must work for all. It must form meaningful partnerships with the private sector and our communities. We say small business is everybody's business. We need to find innovative ways to provide both financial and non-financial support to SMMEs. We welcome the initiative by CIFA to offer payment holidays to its clients. The database developed by the department must be used to detect SMMEs which are not registered, and we must encourage all to register and formalize their businesses. As the portfolio committee, we are encouraged by CIFA's investment in financial intermediary institutions. CIFA must, however, diversify the ownership structure of these intermediaries and reduce the cost of lending and build scale to achieve operational and financial sustainability. We also call on the Reserve Bank and the Banking Association of South Africa to make it more accessible for small, micro, medium enterprises to access finance. To date, only 12 billion of the 200 billion loan guarantee scheme for SMMEs has been loaned to 8,600 businesses. If we work together, we can and must overcome this pandemic and reset towards a resilient and inclusive economy. The African National Congress support the adoption of Budget Vote 36. I thank you.
Well done, Comrade Faiz. Well done.
Thank you, Honorable Member. We will now call upon the Deputy Minister of Small Business and Development. Honorable Deputy Minister. The Honorable Deputy Minister.
Chair, I appreciate that some political parties and members of parliament have agreed with us. In fact, Chair, all what we are dealing with is what we inherited. But we are striving to ensure that we reverse the frontiers of poverty. We actually redressed the inequality of the past. It won't help any members to think we'll go on as usual. There is now a new normal. Thank you for voting the budget, and also we'll meet in the field, meeting the very constituencies we're talking about, small businesses, organized business, cooperatives, and we'll march together, including you, because it's time that we unite. It's time that when we sit in a committee, when we receive reports, we are one. But when we take decisions, we tend to want to do other things. It's not very important. I appeal to all the members in that portfolio committee to support the department. That department is new, and we are an inextricable link between trained industry and ourselves. That is why we will always hold each other on our hand and do bigger things. And they will also help us do smaller things in order for us to be all in good order and ready for the new inclusive country that we are actually rethinking. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy Minister. Honorable members, that concludes the debate and the business of the virtual mini plenary session. The mini plenary will now rise. Thank you.
Long live the DA, long live.
Mama.